Hello and welcome to Farm Connections. I'm Dan Hoffman. We are here today at the 2018 Riverland Community College Ag Summit, Agriculture Renewed. Helping me with hosting duties today is Blake Pedersen, a student at Riverland Community College.
Great to be here, Dan.
It's great to have you. On today's show, we're meeting with a host of speakers and ag professionals who will share their ideas and wisdom on how developing niche markets, fostering leadership, and stronger connections with the world around us will continue to build, expand, and explore the future of agriculture.
Welcome to Farm Connections with your host, Dan Hoffman.
Farm Connections, sponsored by Alcorn Clean Fuel, a farmer-owned cooperative in Claremont, Minnesota, produces ethanol, high-protein livestock feed, and corn oil, and beverage-grade carbon dioxide for resale to benefit its members and their communities. Absolute Energy, a locally owned facility, produces 115 million gallons of ethanol annually, proudly supporting local economies in Iowa and Minnesota. Absolute Energy, adding value to the neighborhood.
It is indeed my pleasure to look in the audience and to see so many of you join us for the 4th Annual Ag Summit. I started at Riverland about 4.5 years ago, and shortly after, we started talking about a global center for agriculture, food science, and innovation. Our intention then was to gather people together to inform us of what we, as a post-secondary education, as a college in the area, could do to participate in one of the most important industry to our region. Agriculture touches all lives, even lives that are unconscious of our interest in them, bacteria, fungi, all sorts of things that go into agriculture. So when we established the Center for Agricultural Science and Food Science Technology in Riverland, we were thinking of core values that will help us deliver what our region wants for our communities to build a new generation and support the new generation of farmers. So you can see our core values include collaborative, informative, forward-thinking, interactive, inclusive, and student-focused. So we want to continue that collaborative deliberation, the working together, the informing in a way that will make us more relevant to the communities we serve. So what can we do to improve? Hence the theme of our summit this year, Agriculture Renewed. So we want to continue to renew our efforts, our science, our art, our practice of agriculture, food production, and fiber to increase and improve the quality of life in our area. So in conclusion, I do say I am very impressed with the attendance today, and if you weren't here, it wouldn't be successful. So thank you for being here and for being ready to participate.
Hi, I'm here with Innovation Manager for Hormel, Nathan Smit. Nathan, welcome to Farm Connections.
Thank you.
How do you define innovation?
I'll keep it as simple as this. It's the art of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and driving change. Sometimes creating new things and driving change is difficult, but in innovation, it's a way of life.
What does it mean to you to be an innovation manager?
It means developing new products that consumers want that make their lives easier, and it's fun at the same time.
When you hear a lot of ideas throughout the day, how do you determine the good and the bad ideas?
You know, it's really easy at Hormel. We test with consumers and we let the consumers tell us what's a good idea, and they're really the golden rule of our innovation is letting consumers help us develop the new items.
And how do you keep good ideas coming through every time or every year?
So I engage creative employees, and I also engage creative companies that we work with and really put their chefs and their innovation people and marketing people to the task of coming up with new ideas that we maybe haven't thought of ourselves.
Have you ever turned a bad idea into a good one?
You can. It's called repositioning. So sometimes an idea might not quite fit, and it's one or two things you change, and it changes the perception that the consumer has in the idea. It's something we do all the time in research.
You say working on an innovation team is fun. What's so fun about working on an innovation team?
What's really fun is you get to see the future before it happens, and you get to play a role in the future. You get to see consumers' reactions long before a product ever hits the shelf, and every day is something new and different.
In your speech, you talked about being a mentor. What's the biggest quality you look for in a mentor, as well as giving out when you're mentoring somebody?
The biggest quality I look for in a mentor is someone with the experience to share their stories and also give you the confidence in your own abilities.
Besides the time and dedication, what else does it take to be a mentor?
It takes empathy and caring about the person and caring for their well-being and wanting to make them better. You also have to put a lot of time into it and take steps to meet with them, help them out with their different questions, and be there by their side as a reference in the future, or just a good sounding board.
Share with us what you presented today at your speech.
So as a Riverland Community College alumni, I was asked to share my story, where I started, my early experience at Riverland, how it impacted my career long term, as an inspiration to others in the room. It really helps to tell my story, to build excitement and encouragement among a lot of the younger folks in the community, in the audience, who might be thinking, what's my step? How do I get a job in agriculture and really make a difference?
How can innovation renew and re-energize agriculture today?
If you think about products like Skippy PB Bites, utilizing peanuts from farmers in the southeast United States, the innovation that we do today drives those commodities production in the future to create new products for consumers that appeal to their lifestyles. So anytime innovation comes into the picture, it's re-energizing and renewing categories to drive growth, to increase production.
What would you say to someone who wants to get into innovation?
I would say for someone that wants to get into innovation, always be inquisitive, like try new things, be open to new things, get a skill set in marketing, business development, research and development, where you can truly bring your inquisitive nature and also bring some technical knowledge with to really help create things. But the biggest thing is an open mind. Bringing an open mind to innovation and honoring your creativity are the big features of what you'd look for in an innovation manager.
Well, Nathan, thanks for joining us on Farm Connections.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back. Joining me now is Kyle Huneke, who just finished speaking about building demand, financial concerns, and distance learning for niche markets and local foods. Welcome to Farm Connections, Kyle.
Hey, good to meet you, Blake.
What were you here to speak about today?
So I'm a farm business management instructor here at Riverland, but I live up in the Goodhue County area. So I work with producers basically from Rochester to Minneapolis, St. Paul area. There's 65 of us statewide, 11 of us here at Riverland, and they basically do the same thing that we do. We work with anybody that's willing to work with us on their farm operation. We work through record keeping, business management tactics, all kinds of various activities. Primarily today I was talking about niche markets and some of the specialty producers that I have and work with up in the metro area, and then also in outstate Minnesota. So that's kind of what I talked about, but yeah, overall we deal a lot of farmers around the state, not just in the niche markets, but production ag, corn, soybeans, dairy farms, sugar beets up in the northwest part of Minnesota, and everything in between. So,
what requirements does it take to get where you are today?
Basically, I grew up on a farm in Goodhue County. I grew up around a lot of dairy farms. A lot of my aunts and uncles had dairy farms. So that kind of gave me the base understanding of agriculture. From there, I actually was in the program as a student farmer. I worked under Jen Smith. She was another instructor out of Wanamingo. From there, I went and I got a degree in business from Augsburg, and then my master's at Augsburg as well in business management. And I applied for the job here at Riverland, got it, and got actually put back in the area that I grew up. So I have a pretty good understanding of the dairy industry. I worked in direct marketing and niche markets when I was farming, so that paired well with a lot of the farmers that I'm working with too today.
How do you build demand for niche markets?
Well, I work with a lot of farms all over southeastern Minnesota, and I think that's probably the number one question: how do we sell our product, or how do we get demand built for the product that we're growing? And it really starts grassroots, farmers markets, getting the word out there, meeting other business owners and trying to build a network and kind of go from there. And then ideally, hopefully, that network grows and they can continue to sell and expand into co-ops and restaurants, caterers, things like that. So.
Why are we seeing such an increasing demand in this market?
I think a lot of the producers that I work with are selling to people that seem to really be passionate about the area that they grew up in or live in currently and want to basically buy produce or buy products from people they know and can relate to, and that are local to their area, and it just continues to just grow and evolve. And like I talked earlier in the presentation, a lot of the producers sell directly to coffee shops or small restaurants too, and they can now see, hey, I can get this produce here at this restaurant. I can also buy it directly from the farm. I can buy it from the farmer. There's just a lot of avenues, and you can start getting that consistency between all the different areas that you may spend your time at throughout the day or week, and it's continuing to grow and continue. I think it'll continue to grow for a long time. So.
Are there any outside resources that farmers can use?
Yeah, we have a lot outside of the FBM program. We do a lot with work with a lot with lenders when it comes to financing, so we have a good network there. One thing we see in the niche and local markets is there's more of a demand for simple things like graphic designers, lawyers. There's a lot more that goes into getting your product to market that typically we wouldn't see, with a dairy, corn, soybean operation. And then also at the state level, we have the Minnesota Department of Ag grants right now and tax credits for young and beginning farmers that have been absolutely wonderful for the program and for the producers. And then at the federal level, we can help work through some of the paperwork on the USDA FSA loan programs if they're looking at taking on a more substantial size loan to grow their operations.
Thank you for being on Farm Connections, Kyle.
Thank you, Blake.
We'll be right back. I'm here with Outstanding Young Farmer Award winner Caleb Howe. Caleb, welcome to Farm Connections.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about your farm?
We farm about 2,500 acres just outside of Dexter, Minnesota. We just have row crop corn and soybeans. Basically, I'm married to my wife, Nikki. We have a 2-year-old boy at home. We have another one on the way, hopefully here in a month. I'm on the fire department, and I'm a first responder for Dexter. So between all that, I stay busy. And
what does it mean to you to win the Young Farmer Award?
It was quite an honor to win it. I know there's a bunch of young farmers out there that are just as good as I am, if not better. So it was quite an award and quite emotional day for that. It was just a nice honor to be recognized. And I've been driving tractors since I was 9, so I've been doing it for quite a while. So it's just nice to be recognized, I guess. And it was quite an honor.
Well, congratulations, and hopefully you have further success. And thank you for being on Farm Connections.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Dr. Jerry Nelson, and he's going to talk about his experiences around the world. Dr. Nelson, welcome to Farm Connections.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
What do you think we can do to help improve the younger generation's education with working with what you've been with?
I think there are 2 or 3 things we really can be very concerned about. One is education, as you've discussed already, and I think particularly we need to balance the science education with the social sciences. Another factor is travel, and now it's much more easy to do the traveling, and if younger people can get away to a different country, even if it's just Mexico or somewhere close by, they'll learn a lot because there's a difference.
And what do you think we can do to also educate on how to solve the problems you've been working on for most of your career?
This is really a difficult issue because our natural instinct is to move rapidly. We know how things work here, and we think we can quickly adjust and they will work the same way there. But the people are different, their culture is different, their supplies are different, and inputs. You need to listen very carefully and have patience so that you understand what they're confronting, and then by little small steps you can advance that along and eventually get to your goal.
With what you've seen over there, what do you think back here we can do to help out with not just agriculture, but with North Korea? You've worked extensively, and it's tough to get in there. I mean, what do we do to really help out there?
Well, there's 2 different stories in that question, and you're right. It's very, very difficult to get into North Korea. But what we can do is have people that show an interest, and they're willing to go to a country where it's a little bit less developed. And you can serve some time and help work with those people. Now, in most of those countries, like in Africa, there's a food shortage, but there's other little steps that we can take to help improve that. North Korea is a completely different picture, and it's going to take some political changes to make things work there. In the meantime, though, we have to be careful, not just send food, because that helps out for a day or two, or a month or two, or a year or two, but teach them how they can grow food at a high quality and with the preservation of the environment, and that takes longer.
We've talked about differences. What similarities can you see that we are able to bridge the gap?
Well, let's go back to the cultures just for a moment, because culture has a big influence on what people can do and will do. Now, for example, one thing is religion. And we think that we came from a Christian area, but that's not the norm when you get out in many of these developing countries. It is in some, but not all. The other thing is their habits, their traditions, and so on, their holidays, how they celebrate, how their family values are set together. What does it really mean to have a family and its cohesiveness? So in Africa, the grandmother is a key point. In North Korea, it's the grandfather. And we have to learn which ones are the decision makers and how the influence occurs in a population through those people.
Thank you for being on Farm Connections, Dr. Nelson.
It's been a pleasure, and best wishes as you continue your education in serving people.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm here with Valerie Earley, and she's going to talk about her experiences as a national former FFA officer. Hi, Valerie. Welcome to Farm Connections.
Thanks for having me, Blake.
What's it been like for you as a person to go through these experiences with the FFA?
You know, it's been pretty life-changing. I have been at FFA since the 8th grade, grew up on a farm, so it was a pretty natural fit, and my siblings were in FFA, but didn't realize how much I would truly grow through this organization, and that I would get to travel to 31 states and different countries and be able to meet people from all over. So it's been truly life-changing, and just have learned so much about agriculture and the people in our industry.
Why do you think it's key for young people today to stay involved in the FFA?
Yeah, I think people like both of us are great people to stay involved and give back as alumni members, and to be able to mentor those students and maybe giving them feedback when they're competing in career development events, or simply helping with chapter events, even helping out at state or national conventions. There's so many things that we can do just to mentor those young people who might not know that they have a talent in this area that can directly be used in a career in agriculture. So I think it's super important for people like ourselves to help out in agriculture.
What were some of the experiences and/or events you've attended, throughout your career as a national FFA officer, where you've been and who you've seen?
A lot of different state conventions. So I got to go to 9 different state conventions. I was able to go to the Farmer Roundtable discussion in Washington, D.C. With President Trump and Secretary of Agriculture Perdue, and that was an awesome event, something I'll probably never forget. Got to go to Japan a couple other times in D.C. advocating on the Hill, and just so many incredible experiences and different conferences I got to help lead or attend.
What qualities does it take to become a national FFA officer?
Well, as an 8th grader, I was super shy, and I never would have imagined I would become a national officer. I mean, giving a speech in front of the class even freaked me out then, but I think just becoming a leader in general, it takes confidence in yourself. It takes a willingness to influence other people and believe that you truly have something to share with the people around you. And so I think that's what it takes to become a national officer, is a lot of dedication and willingness to be mentored and coached by people in agriculture and other FFA leaders. And I think that's the same thing it takes to be a leader, whether it's in a chapter for FFA or in our local communities.
Can you talk more about your travels abroad and the experiences you acquired on those trips?
Sure. So as a national officer, I got to go to Japan for 10 days with my national officer teammates, and it was a great experience. We got to go and visit farms and different agricultural organizations, and one of the biggest things I took away was just seeing how much influence American agriculture has, not only here in our country, but across the world. And seeing our brands over there and seeing the companies that work with companies over here, and just how agriculture is united together through our industry. It's pretty incredible. And I think some of the other takeaways were just getting to experience their culture and how different that is, and just how that plays along with everything that we experienced and did over there.
Japan has a program just like the FFA. What were your experiences with working with them?
Sure, yeah, they do have FFJ. It looks a little bit different than FFA, but it was awesome to go and spend time with the chapter over there, and we got to stay with the host family, actually. So I just jumped in a minivan with a family of 7 people and didn't speak much Japanese. They didn't speak much English, but they basically just took great care of me. I got to eat the food that they ate and experience what it was like living with their family, and they were just so kind, and I still stay in touch with them today. So it was pretty awesome to learn about their organization and such a warm welcome.
Are there any other trips you've been on that have had an influence on you?
Yeah, we went to South Africa when I was a state officer. My teammates and I did with 75 other state officers, and got to kind of do the same thing and just learn about agriculture, learn about their culture and the impact that agriculture has on the people there. So it was a pretty impactful trip as well.
Wow, FFA has really broadened your perspective and given you quite a network of people to reach out to.
It really has.
Thank you for joining us today, Valerie, on Farm Connections. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be part of this Ag Summit event.
And we'll be right back. Well, look who we found, Dan Hoffman.
Hi, Blake.
How's the summit going?
This summit is going really great. You'll notice we had students that are in FFA and Ag all over the region. We had their advisors. We had the farm business management instructors. We had farmers that are producing here. We had industry people from our local area. We had a lot of people that do research. We had people that are actually in producing food, marketing food. I'd say we had a good day today.
You're the director of the Ag and Food Science Club and the new center you guys got there. What does that mean?
Well, as director, I supervise the FBM, or the Farm Business Management Instructors, that are spread out all over southeast Minnesota. We have 11 instructors. I also supervise some of the staff and faculty on campus, but we have courses like Precision Ag, Crop Production, Soil Science, Intro to Ag Business, Food Science courses, and a whole host of other ones like welding and diesel mechanics and other things that integrate well into agriculture. And you know what? Sometimes we need to learn some math and English and science to go along with agriculture. You know that. You grew up on a farm not very far from where we're standing.
Yep. What kind of innovation's going on at the Ag Center right now?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do is with the club we have, it's called the Agriculture and Food Science Technology Club. We use the community as our classroom. So the advisor, Nick Schultz, actually takes those students and integrates with the community and does things in relation to food science and agriculture. It's not a static thing. It's not like, you know, after school we go and shoot some hoops. This is something that actually interrelates with the curriculum. So when they're learning about food science, they might go to a food processing plant nearby. Or if you're learning about leadership, you might learn about putting together a leadership program. For example, Blake, one of the reasons we wanted you to be host today is you're a student at Riverland Community College in the Ag Science program. What a great way to develop your leadership skills, and you're doing a super job.
Well, how is this beneficial to the farmers and the agricultural group in the area, this new center?
Well, certainly we have a shortage of trained, skilled employees in agriculture, actually to the tune of thousands in our state. We're missing that population that's coming back into our communities or staying here. So by having a community college that is a gateway into an education and a pathway into, say, transferring to another school to get a four-year degree or a master's or a doctorate. We heard several speakers today that were alums of this college that have gone on to be professors, for example, at the University of Missouri. Or like Nathan Smit, who is an innovation manager at Hormel and helped bring some products to the marketplace that were pretty interesting. And many of the participants had samples today. And then there's people that want to go back and operate the farm. Operating a farm takes a lot of technology, it takes a lot of skill, financial, communications, management kinds of things. Blake, you know that. You're what, third generation farmer or fourth?
Third.
Okay. So you know that it takes a great deal of technology and training to do that. And even if the students leave the area for a while, many of them come back because they're connected to family or they love agriculture.
Who came up with the phrase for agriculture renewed?
Well, I get to take blame or credit for that. We're renewing agriculture on campus, and re-energizing it. The college has been very good about reinvesting in it, but agriculture is continually renewing, daily, monthly, seasonally, and annually. And it is a cyclical business, but certainly agriculture, plants and animals, and the people that do it, we're always trying to renew and get better.
How's it feel to have your role reversed today?
I think it looks really good. I'm glad you're over there. In other words, sometimes I get to ask the questions or be the host, but you know, one of the things we need to learn in all businesses, especially agriculture, is transition and succession. I'm not going to do this forever. It's fun to see somebody else do it. And it's also kind of interesting to have somebody ask questions and have to come up with an answer. And you've done a great job.
Hey Dan, thanks for being on Farm Connections.
Thanks for having me, Blake. It's a pleasure.
And we'll be right back.
Thank you for joining us at the 2018 Ag Summit. By exploring innovation, different markets, and the effect policy, government, and leadership have on all of us within the agricultural community, a solid foundation is being expanded upon and bringing with it a greater sense of agriculture renewed. I'm Dan Hoffman.
And I'm Blake Pedersen.
Thank you for joining us on Farm Connections.